I say it's illegal, that's why, and I bid it.
What's your authority?
Them, comrade!
I'm not a communist!
Good.
We're not communists!
Can you answer for the others?
Look, we're all British citizens and voters!
Well, go and vote for something then.
That's what we're demonstrating about the right to vote for freedom!
You've got more than you might think, mate.
I've been loyal to this country all my life!
Just as well, now get the hell out.
They keep putting uniforms on rats like you, I'll soon bloody well become a communist!
I'll bloody well soon nobble you if you do. Now shut your gob and get the hell out of here, the lot of you.
You're not military anymore, you're police! Political police! Big! Big! Big!
Please disperse peacefully! Please disperse peacefully! And leave your home!
Get him! Take him inside! No, no, no. There's me!
I don't want to look. This dressing needs doing
Oh,
again.
dear, I do wish you'd take my camera aside.
Shut up. I'm doing your lip, if you can shut up.
Oh, God, here he comes. Repeat, oh,
Not a
God.
pleasant sight, was it? But then you weren't supposed to enjoy it. I certainly didn't. However, I must first pay tribute to our security forces.
Oh, tar.
That was only one of the riots which took place today. An unhappy day for England, you may think, as I do. Yet I'm proud of the fact that not one single rioter was killed or even severely injured.
If I'd have laid down on a bastard and done this,
Any
I'd...
other police force in the world could have achieved this without bloodshed and death. Perhaps the deaths of many, many misguided Englishmen.
You mean traitor's sake, mate?
They believed the lies of subversive factions.
Lies? You must be
Please, Tom, let me
joking.
do your lip.
Ban all strikes. The government has no such plan, nor will it ever have such a plan. The right to strike is a fundamental liberty of every Englishman and will remain so.
I don't believe it.
And it's my hope that my solemn assurance to the unions will serve to prevent any further outbreaks of violence. However, there is another problem which the Cabinet must deal with now. It is this. Although since we came to power on St. George's Day last year, after the failure of the coalition, we have begun to put England back on its feet. Although our trading figures improve each month, and our balance of payments is now healthier than at any time since before the First World War, although productivity continues to rise, despite the subversives of both left and right, who for their own dark purpose wish to see all this thrown away, there still remains a social problem which is a disgrace to England. We've stopped inflation, but we've scarcely begun to repair the damage which that inflation caused before we came to office. In the midst of our new prosperity, there is still poverty, yes, real poverty, among those sections of society least able to protect themselves, the old, the disabled, the sick, and those unfortunates of our next generation, deprived children. The entire Cabinet, over whom I have the privilege to preside, feels it a matter of national honor that we tackle this problem drastically and immediately. I am therefore glad to tell you that as from the 1st of next month, all state pensions and all other social security benefits will, with one exception, be doubled. I repeat, doubled. The one exception arises from the fact that money doesn't grow on trees and it has to come from somewhere. We have therefore decided that as from the 1st of next month, no social security benefits whatever shall be paid to strikers or to the families of strikers. I repeat that every worker will continue to have the legal right to strike, but no longer at the expense of the community. He must now pay for it out of his own pocket. Now, if anyone can call such a measure fascist, rather than arising from simple logic and indeed simple Christianity, I suggest he considers very seriously whether England is the country he should be living in. If he wishes to leave, we shall certainly not stand in his way. But I hope he will not. I hope he will join with us in our march towards a happier, a more prosperous, a more law-abiding, a more secure, and yes, an even greater England. Good night.
Good night,
And
God be with you. Psalm singing old windbag. God preserve us from agonised liberals, especially the Christian ones. You know, I don't know whether he's the most saintly man in England or the biggest liar, or both. Claire. Claire, what's the matter?
Headache, that's all.
Well, allow me to give you a bit of the old massage, huh? How's that? Didn't know I could do this, did you? Better?
Yes.
Picked it up from a film with Herbert Lom. Hey, you don't get headaches, do you? I mean, not often.
No. Started a few weeks back.
Well, you never said.
Not important, just headaches.
Shall I get you an aspirin?
No, it's fine, thanks. Your lip, there's still blood.
Oh, sorry.
No, I meant don't hurt yourself.
Oh, well, in that case... I do love you.
Not as much as I love you.
Do you?
Sorry. Blood. It's always made me feel ill. That's why I couldn't watch those pictures.
You knew I was a G.
Yes, but actually seeing
Well,
it...
I've got a surprise for you. You won't be seeing it much longer. That please you?
You mean you're leaving the Jews?
No. But you won't be seeing me doing much of that anymore, if any.
What do you mean?
Get into bed, and I'll tell you afterwards. As a reward.
Who needs rewards?
It's late, Uncle. I said it's late, Uncle. I'm going to bed. It's late.
I'm worried.
The last few pieces always irritate you.
Don't be sarcastic, Peter. I have a very great responsibility, you know. This is simply a relaxation.
You should try sleep. It's really quite good.
Said I'm worried.
I know you are, Uncle. I appreciate your responsibility. I can imagine what the strain must be, and I sympathize entirely. But since there's nothing I can do to help, apparently, and since I'm tired, I'm going to bed. Good night.
You can help.
Can I?
Look.
Well?
You're the only one I really trust, you know.
I've always done my best for you, Uncle.
This one's going to be the most serious yet. And the most dangerous.
Tell me then.
I want you to join the Guardians.
Tom,
Yeah?
where are you?
In the bathroom.
Can I tell you something?
What's that?
I love you very much.
It didn't go unnoticed. Tar.
So good it almost hurt.
Yeah, I think so too.
Tom? Come back to bed.
Oh, no.
Come back to me.
Not yet, kid.
I said come back.
And I said no.
What you doing?
Well, I told you there was a reward.
What you doing?
I'm getting dressed.
Now, come on, Tom, what are you doing?
I'm getting dressed.
What for? You're not going back on duty, are you?
No, I'm not. It's a surprise, I told you. I'm nearly ready. Now get over there and close your eyes and wait till I'm ready.
Don't be daft. What are you up to?
Well, my uniform got torn, you see. But it didn't matter because they were going to give me a new one anyway. Now get over by that bed, woman, and close your bloody eyes until I tell you to open them, right?
All right, then.
Nearly ready. Right, open up. Well, see the difference?
What is it?
Well, look at the pips, kid.
Pips.
I've been commissioned. You will in future be so kind as to address me as Captain Weston, not Sergeant Weston. Mrs. Weston.
Oh.
And it's better than that. I've got what I've always been working for. Area Commander of Recruiting and Training. That's what I meant about no more street fighting. From now on, I'll be training the lads who do it. And picking them personally. How about that, eh? So, in view of the fact that I know which clubs are allowed to stay open at this time of night, and that I'm now worth £13.50 a week more, I suggest that you encase that astonishing body of yours in your glad rags, tart yourself up, and we will go out and celebrate. Claire. Claire.
Oh, God.
Declare the Cabinet to be in session and call the meeting to order. Before considering the agenda, I have a message from a general who was most impressed by the Prime Minister's recent speech on television. Most moving, very creative, and above all, patriotic. That is the kind of spirit I wish to reawaken in England. Please convey to him my personal congratulations.
Oh, no, please. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
However, the General adds this. I'm sorry to see that Sir Timothy chose to introduce his speech with scenes of disgraceful violence on the streets of England. I thought he understood my views on this, namely, that by giving the rioters publicity, we give them a sense of importance which can lead only to more violence. I trust that Sir Timothy and the Cabinet will decide that in future no acts of violence will be shown, however good the reason may seem at the time, on English television screens. In particular, I must emphasize that I personally forbid any scenes of violence concerning the guardians of the realm. Sir Timothy?
He personally forbids me, does he?
That seems clear.
He personally forbids all of us.
I can see no other interpretation of the General's words.
Now, I went out of my way to praise the Guardian's restraint and efficiency. I'm not allowed to say even that.
Keep it cool, Tom.
No, the General doesn't say so. You may certainly mention it. What he forbids is only pictorial records of their activities. Now, item 1 on the agenda.
May I ask when the Gs are to be disbanded as an armed force?
I would prefer it if you would refer to them by their proper name.
May I ask when the Guardians are to be disbanded?
Certainly.
Well?
I said you may ask. Do you want to ask?
When are the Guardians as an armed force to be disbanded?
When you gentlemen, each of you hand-picked as the cream of England's brains, experience, efficiency and loyalty, have succeeded in your appointed duty of putting England back on its feet firmly. Then, and only then, will the Guardians be disbanded. So you see, Sir Timothy, gentlemen of the Cabinet, the answer lies in your hands. Any further comments, Prime Minister? Gentlemen? Very well, let's proceed to item 1 on the agenda, which is that unofficial strikes be legally banned and be made criminal offences.
The captain will see you now, Mr. Lee.
Mrs. Weston, Dr. Benedict will see you now.
Thank you.
Sit down, Mr. Lee.
Thank you.
Sorry to keep him waiting.
Ah, come in, Miss,
Mrs.
Oh, Mrs., of course. Do sit down, Mrs. Where the devil is that letter?
Weston. This is Claire Weston. Here's my identity card.
Oh, yes. Supposed to look at this, aren't I? Do sit down, Mrs. Weston. I've got Dr. What's-its letter about you here somewhere. Sorry to keep you waiting.
You haven't. Exactly on time.
Really? Oh, good. Now, where's that letter?
Now, let me check your application form first. Namely?
Yes.
Christian name's Peter Athelston?
Athelston.
Thank you. Age 26?
Yes.
School Winchester? University Cambridge? Degrees 2-1 in modern languages. Russian, it says.
And French.
Sorry. No.
Why not?
It's forbidden on duty.
Since my application to join the Guardians is not yet accepted, I'm not on duty, am I?
May I smoke?
Ah, here we are. What?
May I smoke?
You nervous?
Yes.
No need to be nervous, though everyone is for some reason. Yes. Yes, if you like.
Do you want me to go through the rest of this application form?
If that's the procedure.
Do you want me to treat it seriously?
What do you mean?
I mean, put that bloody cigarette out.
You know, when I was younger and even stupider than I am now, which is to say when I knew everything, and you can't get much stupider than that, I once tried to cure a man of smoking by hypnosis. Well, I was going through my hypnosis stage, all the young psychiatrists do. Well, he turned out to be a natural subject. 2 sessions and bingo, he'd given it up. Felt pretty clever about that, I did, till a couple of weeks later I had a call from his secretary. Worried to death she was. Said he'd become completely paralysed. So, round I went, sure enough, there he was, sitting behind his posh executive desk, staring at a packet of facts. Couldn't speak, couldn't move, total neurotic catalepsy, just staring at this packet of facts with eyes like a paralysed cod. You know what I had to do? Hypnotise him again, put him back on smoking. After that, he was as right as rain. So, would you mind if I had one, too?
Cigarette?
Always a bit nervous with a new patient. Ashtray. Ashtray. Where the hell? They hide them. The vain hope I won't need them. Now the hell with it. This sauce will do. There we are. Now, let's have a look at this letter.
Occupation. You put none.
That's right.
You didn't buy that suit on Social Security.
The last of my redundancy pay.
Redundant? From what?
The Army.
You've not said that, eh?
The question isn't asked.
Mm-hmm. What regiment?
The late lamented Life Guards.
Rank?
Captain. Captain.
And do you reckon you're going to walk into the G's as a captain? Captain?
It would be very nice, but I doubt it. Captain.
No, no. You start at the bottom like anyone else, Lee.
Yes, I thought I'd probably have to. Captain.
You wouldn't mind that?
Of course. But I'm quite prepared to accept it.
Degree in Russian?
Yes.
Why?
Why what?
Why pick on Russian to learn?
Well, if we're ever going to have another war, it'll presumably mean fighting the Russians. You're better equipped if you know what the bastards are talking about.
Better equipped to collaborate with them as well.
What?
When did you begin suffering from migraine?
2 weeks ago.
Do you remember what brought it on, the first?
Before we go any further, let me say that until I arrived here, I had no idea you were a psychiatrist. The company doctor simply told me he'd like me to see another doctor.
So I take it you resent being here?
I do rather, yes.
I don't blame you, so would I. Wonder why I didn't tell you. Actually, I wonder why I sent you in the first place.
The last one was bad. Headache. I was off work 2 days.
Yes, but why to me?
Can't you treat migraine?
Oh, I can have a go. Answered a few times. Don't know how to tell you the truth. But I would like to know where I stand first. I mean, why are you important?
Me?
Well, the government doesn't pay for my rather expensive time to spend on nobodies.
Government? The company's paying for me.
And they're reimbursed by the government. If the patient comes to me, that is. You didn't know?
No.
You mean you really didn't know that apart from my private practice, I'm chief consultant on the government's panel of psychiatrists?
I've just told you. I didn't even know you were a psychiatrist.
I'm not sure that I believe you.
When the Communist Party was outlawed, they were pretty smart. We raided every party branch in England, and already they'd burnt all the documents. Every personal record, every name. Result? We could only nobble the well-known ones. The rank and file, we still don't know who they are. We got our spies, of course. Got our paid informers. But there's still a hell of a lot that we've not caught up with. You don't happen to know any of them, do you?
Because I learned Russian at Cambridge. I read French, too, without turning into a frog.
Do you know why the G's became independent of the army? Because the army was being infiltrated by the communists.
I know you became independent, and you're still growing, while the official army continues to shrink.
Did you know that there was infiltration?
Commies. Wish some of them had got into the household cavalry. That would have livened the mess up a bit. Particularly when they didn't pay their bills.
You seem to treat the matter very lightly.
You seem to take it remarkably solemnly.
Goodbye.
You going?
Have you been given power to prevent me?
No.
And wouldn't exercise it if you could.
Certainly,
An agonised liberal, as Tom says.
Certainly, I wouldn't hesitate to exercise it if I had it.
What?
The power to stop you going.
Why?
Don't know, really. Bloody lie, yes, I do. Enjoying you, that's why.
Goodbye.
Au revoir.
That means you want me to come back.
Certainly I do.
Which means you want me sick, you bloody government-paid hypocrite.
There's nothing personal. I've just got a vested interest in the sick, that's all. All doctors have. But if there weren't any sick people, what the hell would we do for a living? Have to do something useful, like digging holes in roads or driving buses or something. Same with the law. Barristers, solicitors, coppers, what would they do without criminals? See, if the world were perfect, there wouldn't be any crime, we wouldn't need the law. Wouldn't need priests, come to think of it, since there be no sin. Wouldn't even need God. Give him a life peerage and kick him upstairs where he's always felt more at home anyway. The trouble is, with grateful respects to his cloudiness, that the world isn't perfect and never will be. That's why Tim Hobson's such a raving bloody nutcase. I do beg his pardon. That is why our revered and respected Prime Minister is such a raving bloody nutcase. He thinks he can make England perfect. Do you? Of course not. England is just a dirty little piece with a piece of little dirt. And human nature being what it is, this molecule of earth which we infest can never be perfect. Never. That's why we had to invent art. Art is our only shimmering glimpse of perfection. You look at that picture there on the wall. What do you think of it? Well?
I think it's awful.
So do I. Given me by a schizophrenic in lieu of his bill. Now you have given me something.
What?
The nerve to take the bloody thing down.
There's something you should know.
What?
I'm pregnant.
Suppose then, now just suppose, that you were a dedicated communist, committed to turning England's revolution into a communist one. Now, how would you set about it?
Do you ask every recruit these absurd questions?
Now, how would you set about turning England communist?
And, he doesn't know?
Not yet.
3 months?
Yes.
And you've been married 5 months?
Nearly 6.
Can be bloody murder, can't it?
So I've heard.
But not in your case.
No.
Of course not. Never is.
My problem has nothing to do with sex.
Of course not. Never has.
You don't believe me.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
What would you say?
Well, let's compromise. Let's say I believe you believe yourself. But, why haven't you told your husband?
That's all you'd do? Chuck a few bombs, kill a few ministers?
I can't imagine the commie having much more imagination than that.
I asked what you would do.
Well, it's rather like asking me what I'd do if I were the prima ballerina at Covent Garden. I've no idea.
Really? I thought you just might, Mr. Lee.
What do you mean by that?
Bachelor, huh? Whoops, those bygone days. Personally, I'm encumbered in a way which I suspect you never will be. Ex-captain.
Now, what was your husband's name again?
Is it possible to love more than once? Really love with the whole heart?
You're testing me, aren't you?
Is it?
Certainly.
You're no good at your job, Dr. Benedict.
You confirm my own worst suspicions. For God's sake, don't tell anybody.
I love Tom with my whole heart, from tip to toe, from my toenails to my follicles. I sense him in the very marrow of my bones, and that is that. Never again. Tom and Tom only.
I'm quite awestricken.
I think you'd have the wits to do better than that, Mr. Lee.
I have the wits to do better than that. Join the G's. I can see which side England's bread is buttered on. And I was born, bred, and buttered in England.
If you were a dedicated communist, I suggest that is exactly what you would do.
Do what?
Infiltrate. The communists are trying to infiltrate the G's, Mr. Lee.
You really think I'm one of them?
Are you?
You're joking.
Oh, yes. It's a big joke. I'll show you. I'm empowered to use this, you know.
You do know that capital punishment has been restored, don't you?
Not for the G's, Mr. Lee. And we conduct our own trials.
So, you're frightened?
Would I be here?
Not of having a child. Surely no, you're a natural. So what is it you fear?
Tom.
Your husband?
I think...
Doesn't want a child, you think?
I do think, and I think he'll probably be delighted. And why can't you just shut up when I'm trying to tell you something? Or is there any point? Shall I go now, Dr. Benedict?
Another 25 minutes on the clock, Mrs. Weston. Or may I call you Claire?
Why?
Don't know, really. Would you like to call me Frank?
Not much.
Well, that's a relief for some reason. Now, tell me, what is it that frightens you?
Things that go bump in the night.
Yes, I sometimes do that. According to my wife, whose word I never believe. She being a remarkably beautiful woman. Still, that's another story. Well, how do we find out what frightens you, beautiful Claire?
I know what frightens me.
Really?
What I don't know is why.
I have a vague feeling we ought to change phrases. What frightens you?
Tom, my husband...
You're frightened of your husband?
Will you listen?
Of course, by all means. Sorry. I think I ought to take some notes. Pen. You've got a... I'm always losing pens for some reason. Must be some deep psychological motivation for that. Not that it matters a tuppenny damn. I'd just like to meet the bloke who finds all the pens that I lose. Two kinds of people in this world. Those who lose pens and those who find them. I'm a loser. Now, where were we? Oh, yes. You're frightened of your husband.
No.
I could have sworn that was what you said.
Are you listening now?
Do my best.
I'm not afraid of Tom. I'm afraid for him.
Really? Why?
I think someone's going to kill him.
Oh, who?
Who what?
Who wants to kill Tom?
You see, the trouble is, Mr. Ex-Captain Lee, I don't believe you. You're too good to be true. I spend hours a week sitting here sorting out the wheat from the chaff, and you walk in already wholemeal. Now, why is that, Mr. Lee?
Have you received any kind of communication about me, Captain?
Should I have?
Is that why you're resentful of me?
You mean you believe me?
You know, when I was younger than I am now, but mercifully older than I was once, in fact, about 5 years ago, this bloke came to me, shaking like a leaf he was, stricken by the palsy as far as I could see. Well, I gave him a thundering great tranquilizer, and when his dentures had stopped rattling, he told me that the trouble was his wife was trying to poison him. Well, I took the mature precaution of meeting the lady in question, and I found her utterly charming. I tried everything on him. Deep analysis, drugs, electroplexy, insulin, and a few little things I cooked up myself. Waste of time. Bad as ever it was, till his wife came to my rescue and solved the whole problem. Know what she did?
Poisoned him?
You know, I think you and I are going to get on remarkably well together.
Do you think someone might really kill Tom?
People get killed every day for one reason or another. How should I know?
Who and why?
Distinguished public school, distinguished university, distinguished regiment, distinguished family. You could get a job anywhere. And yet you want to join the G's as a mere recruit.
I like power, Captain. I gravitate to where it is. Where is it now in England?
With your qualifications, I mean, well, for a start, the Foreign Office would snap you up.
And many other old established firms. But this is where the power is now. So if I'm to stay in great little old England, I want one of those new little round G's in my lapel and a great little gun in my belt.
If you're to stay, well, we're thinking of leaving. Where would you go? Russia?
He sounds a thoroughly nice bloke to me, Tom.
He is.
What's he do for a living? Yeah? I said, what does he do for a living?
I've just remembered something.
Yeah?
So simple I'd almost forgotten. I remember when I first got a headache.
Yes?
Well, the funny thing is, I was so happy at that moment. But then he started getting dressed, and it was the first time I'd seen him putting his uniform on.
Tom?
Well, it wouldn't be anyone else, would it?
Well, how should I know? What uniform?
Guardians.
He's a G?
Yes.
Your husband is a G?
Yes.
What rank?
Captain, just promoted.
Good God.
What's so surprising?
Oh, it's more than that. It's fascinating. Now I see why.
What?
You tell me, Mrs. G, Captain Weston.
On top of which I am, if I may say so, extremely proficient. I don't see myself staying as a private for long.
Sergeant?
Oh, a little higher, I think.
Captain?
At least.
Higher than that?
I think so.
I might even become your subordinate. Is that what you mean?
I think it's worth your while considering that possibility.
Right. Now tell me who sent you.
What?
Somebody's put you up to this. I can feel it in my bones.
I've told you why I want to join.
Somebody's put you up to it, and it's somebody important. With your background, a bit of string pulling, you could have come in over my head. But whoever it was thought that that might look too suspicious. So you tell me who that someone is.
Oh, come on, girl. The implications are obvious unless it's a coincidence. My professional instinct is to distrust coincidences unless they're to my advantage. I never won the football pools yet by filling in the date of my birthday and my wife's and children's. You've got brains and imagination. You wouldn't get migraine if you hadn't, so just try and think why you've been sent to me.
I work for a data bank.
Yes, I know that.
Some of the things recorded are confidential. You know, a bit government things sometimes. Maybe they think I'm a bit of a security risk. Perhaps that's why they think me worthy of your high attention.
Oh, you mean the anxiety which induces your illness is perhaps a suppressed unconscious urge to betray confidential information?
I suppose it could be.
So really we ought to investigate the possibility that in infancy you were afraid of your father and that you transferred this in adult life to opposition to a paternalistic government? Yes, bloody rubbish, and you know it. The point is, Claire Weston, that your husband is a man on his way up in the G's. That is the point. Now, what do you make of it?
The word spying suddenly comes into my mind.
Well, go on.
Is that why I'm frightened Tom's going to get killed?
You're not leaving this room until you tell me who put you up to this.
Dead or alive?
Who was it?
I suppose if your rather paranoid suspicion that I might be a communist were correct, I might have been sent to kill you, eh?
Oh, suppose, yes, suppose, that I myself am a member of the Communist Party, that I am the infiltrator, and that I am trying to recruit my comrades into the G's, and all I'm trying to do is to find out if you are one of us, comrade. There was never a matter less funny, Mr. Peter Athelston Lee.
Oh, dearie me. I've met some con men in my time, but you are without doubt the clumsiest.
That's funny, is it, Athelston? Huh? Athelston? Athelston? What kind of a bloody name is that for a human being, anyway? It sounds more like a neutered poodle to me. When are they going to enter you for Crufts, darling? You must be worth quite a few quid.
Now, you just listen to this, you cocky, jumped-up little bastard. Your only redeeming feature is that you hate the bloody Reds as much as I do, without having the brains or the education to realize just what damage they can do if they do get into the Guardians. And you're right, Captain, they are getting in. You're also right that I've been sent by someone important, very important. That's why he sent me. I'm here to track down those dirty little traitors, because no one here seems to have the wits to do it, including you. And as I pick them off one by one, they'll never be seen again. So you just keep your trap shut while I go through the motions of joining and training like any other G, and let me get on with the job, right? Or would you like to be busted back to sergeant, captain, or worse?
All right, let me go, please. Can I have my gun back, please?
Captain.
Thank you. I said,
You just do the job you're paid to do, Captain. You're as big as you'll ever get. Settle for that.
Time is nearly up, Mrs. Weston.
I'm sorry. I've been trying to think, and all I can think is I'm getting these attacks because Tom's in the G's. No, I knew that when we married. But since then, I don't know. He has some sort of secret.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something dangerous.
Well, can you think? The slightest thing?
He loves to talk, but there's something he won't talk about.
Yes, the danger isn't only to him.
Me?
And at the risk of sounding paranoid myself, to me.
Why?
Look, have you ever really had a headache? You see, my work for the government involves some confidential matters. Important men whose mental stability is in doubt, by which, of course, they mean loyalty. Now, if someone suspects that my loyalty is in doubt, how do you think they go about investigating it?
How?
Well, you could be the beginning, Claire Weston.
I see.
Good.
Except that I haven't got the slightest interest in politics.
Neither have I, but like you, I've got a strong sense of survival.
On the other hand...
On the other hand, do they want me to spy on your growingly important husband through you? Find out what his dangerous secret is?
Well?
Maybe it is just a coincidence.
What if it isn't?
Well, if you're genuinely sick, I mean if you're genuine at all, you won't be free of pain till... Do you think he'd come and see me, Tom?
I don't know.
Will you ask?
I don't know.
Yes?
Mr. Yates is here to see you.
Just give me 2 minutes, then send him in. My favourite patient. Worried out of his mind because he's got nothing to worry about. I have to invent anxieties for him. While you're deciding, just ponder on the fascinating similarity between Tom and me. We could both, in our different ways, do a great deal of harm if we were disloyal to the government that pays us both. Alternatively, terrible damage to each other. Cheer up. Just think how interesting life is in England these days. The one thing we'll never die of is boredom.
I am required to ask you to vote on it, gentlemen. Also to tell you that the General regards the matter as so important that he will approve no new legislation unless your vote is unanimous. So, may I now have a show of hands as to whether you agree that unofficial strikes should be made criminal offences under law?
May I say something first?
Oh, God, it's gone.
I've listened to everyone else. I've not spoken myself yet.
Steady, Tim.
Well, Prime Minister?
Now, there is absolutely no reason and no excuse why anyone should be deprived of any kind of freedom unless that freedom is persistently abused. No, now, let me finish. You've all had your say. Now, I know all about the damage done by unofficial strikes. Just let me tell you this. In my own company, which employs more than 50,000 men and women, never once in the last 15 years, I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet. This is the way Hobson's health works are run. Not once in the last 15 years has there been a single wildcat stoppage without anybody forbidding anything. Think on that. I think the General might do well to think on it too.
From which I gather that none of your workers would object to the proposed legislation, since it merely deprives them of a liberty they never chose to exercise.
They do have the dignity to exercise their choice.
Dignity.
Heard of it?
May I now have a show of hands? Although the General asked for a unanimous vote, I think you may accept it if it's passed nem. con. So would you please now vote again? Sir Timothy?
I am not voting. It's been passed nem. con. What do you need me for?
What indeed?
Thank you, gentlemen, for a very satisfactory day's work. I feel confident the General will ratify what you've decided.
You've forgotten any other business.
Well, Prime Minister?
I have a question to ask.
Will you please sit again, gentlemen? Sir Timothy.
A piece of classified information has come to my knowledge. Why it took so long to reach the Prime Minister of England, I really don't know.
Oh, what information?
May I ask, is it correct that during the general strike last year, the G's removed...
The Guardians?
Removed our stockpile of nuclear weapons from their sites and placed them elsewhere under their own keeping?
Yes.
Where?
I meant, yes, that is correct.
May I ask where England's nuclear weapons are now kept?
Yes.
Well? Where have you got England's nuclear weapons?
That, I'm afraid, I'm not permitted to tell you. Good day, Prime Minister. Gentlemen.
No, sorry. Not on duty, Captain.
Do you mind if I...
If you feel the need.
Anything so far?
No.
Maybe we're clean.
This particular little squad may be.
Don't much like the look of Ferris. What do you think?
Why? Because he has red hair?
No, I don't like his eyes. They're too close together.
For all I care, they can get closer and closer till Ferris is the first man in the world with one eye at the top of his nose. Leave it to me, Captain. All I want to know is when can I be conveniently transferred to other squads?
You can call this a roving commission, privately.
You anticipate my every need. It won't go unnoticed, Captain.
Thank you.
You know what my feeling is?
No?
There's a cell somewhere. A living, breathing, growing cell. And someone in the G's is at the very heart of it.
One man?
At the very heart. Just one.
Who? No, don't tell me. Sorry I asked. I don't want to know. When will you want to be moving on?
Well, let's see this week out. I don't want to look too hasty.
End of the week?
If that's not inconvenient.
No. Anything you say. Oh, there's just one thing. I'm newer at this job than you. I'd like to ask your advice. It's up to me to decide when the lads are ready for practical field work. Touch the real thing, you know. Do you think they're ready yet?
Well, let's see, shall we? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Oh, Prime Minister, Secretary to the Cabinet, Special Security for official visit. Well, let's make it Friday. My last day with them.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'll be quite sorry to see you go. Quite sorry.
Tom? You back? Tom? Tom? Tom, I'm going to have a baby and I want you to see a psychiatrist I've been going to. Okay? No. It'll be all right. I don't need one. No.
Hi, Kate! You know, the one thing I like about marriage is this. That when you've got to get up in the morning, you're permanently reconciled by the fact that you've got to go back to bed at night.
I like permanently.
So do I.
I'm going to have a baby.
Oh. Well, well, for a start, you won't want to be carting everything like this up the stairs, will you? I mean, if you're going to have a what's it? Look, we better apply for a new place, hadn't we?
New place? Me, do you mean, or both of us?
Well,
You did hear what I said.
sorry I haven't got any champagne, kid.
Are you glad?
What do you think?
Oh, Tom.
Hey, wait a minute. You've got to look after yourself now, haven't you? I mean, it's practically indecent, isn't it? what I'm thinking, under the circumstances. Look, I shall definitely want him called Arthur, after my dad.
What if he's a girl?
I shall want her called Arthur, after my dad.
One more thing.
What's
you don't
that?
mind?
What?
I'm going to a doctor.
I should hope so.
He'd like to have a talk with you.
Why, find out how it's done?
You don't mind?
Mind? I'll buy him a box of bloody cigars. Oh, no, as if I didn't hear bells enough.
Hello? Who? Who is it? You, I think.
Hello? Hello, Jeff. Yes, I did ring. Yeah, I wanted to work with you. What now? Yeah, but the actual job, well, it isn't until Friday, is it? Yeah. Yeah, all right. 10 minutes. Usual place. Cheers. Sorry, love, I've got to go out.
Can't it
I won't be long. 20
Why
minutes
didn't
at the
you
most.
ask him?
I tell you what I'll do. I'll bring you a lovely Chinese meal back. How about that? Unless you've already got a craving for
No,
cold.
listen, Tom, I want to tell you
No,
now.
later, love, when I
I'm
come
going-
back.
No. No need.
Rather beautiful, isn't he? You can't keep it. I think I can remember a face like that.
You'd better. It's bloody important.
I've told you there's nothing to worry about. It's all going very smoothly. I'm in, and I'm moving.
Right, easy. Now remember, lads, you're not here to do anything. Just to watch the big boys at work, that's all. Not that anything is likely to happen. But if it does, all you do is to just stand there and look menacing. Unless they need some help. Not when you think, but when I think. If anything does happen, you'll hear this little whistle. Then, by God, you better move exactly when I point and remember exactly what I've taught you. Right?
Captain!
I believe.
Private Ferris has fainted, sir.
Oh, no. Get him in somewhere quick, a doorway, anything, quick, come on. Move!
Prime Minister, the car's arrived.
Excuse me. I'm preparing to resign, you know.
Oh, I hope not. The General has great faith in you.
Then tell him that from now on, I want to be kept fully informed of all the G's activities, and I want at least a tentative date for their disbandment. I also want to know where England's nuclear weapons are being kept.
I'll give him that message. Your car's waiting, Sir Timothy.
Oh, by the way. In that building side there! Come on, move!
Another chance?
Search the building, go on, spread out.
I gather everything's under control now, Prime Minister. I'll see if our chauffeurs are still there.
Inside! Get him inside there, quick! Get an ambulance at once! And a doctor! That's a double, Peter!
I'm sorry.
You? Sorry?
I can see that you knew him.
He died for England. May we all.
May we all live for England.
And you want them disbanded. You want this, you want that, you want the other. What do you know about wanting? An immediate autopsy, please. And the pathologist's report.
Norman, I do appreciate that you were concerned for me.
Sorry to see you go. I told you.
Thank you. I travel alone.